of session for Mongoose workshop. So before we start today, so I want to ask you, so did you guys try like whatever we had learned yesterday? So did you guys try to do it in your session? If the basic concepts are clear, then only you will get to know these advanced queries. So before we start, so I'll just wait for 1 or 2 minutes. So if there are any doubts, we can resolve and start the session. So did all of you try yesterday's whatever we have learned like basic create, update, delete, and find queries? So I hope you have executed all those things because that will be very much necessary for today's topic. Okay. So I hope all of you understood everything. So let me start today's session. Share my screen. So you guys can see my screen, right? Okay, thank you. Okay, let's start today's session. So yesterday, if you had remembered, we had covered until remove. So we had covered insert one, insert many, find, pretty, find one, and logical operations like and, or, nor, and as well as some arithmetical operations, as well as update one, update many, remove, save. Okay. So basically, save is similar to whatever we do in update. But the only one difference is, so in save, what we do is, so it will replace the whole document. But in update, what we do is we will just update one or two attribute of a document. But here in save, what happens is if we want to update the whole document, even with the primary key. So here you can see that ID also, if you want to replace with a new ID, new unique ID, then instead of update, we can use save directly. Okay. So that is the only difference. But apart from that, everything is same compared to update. And the next one is projection. So here we are going to discuss about all the aggregation. Like, so from projection, these are all advanced type of queries. So in projection, what we do is, so assume that, so I'll take an example in Mongo Compass. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Assume that here I have created a document, okay, some test documents having ID, contact, date of birth, name, and address. And assume that you want to have a query where you want to fetch only name or ID, but you don't want all the other fields. You want only ID and name because you want to filter with you want to process only that data. So in that case, what happens is if you execute the find query as it is, then what might happen is, so it might take a lot of time because there are lot of fields in the document. It has to extract all the fields. But if you want to speed up your query, what you can do is, so you can add the projection. Project in the sense, you can add after the find query, you can add what are the keys you want in output. So let's say if the particular document has 5 fields, and if you want to show only 3, then you need to give only those 3 keys. So here the way you should give is, So after find, you will execute the filter query, and after that, you should give comma, and again you have to open a dictionary where you have to specify multiple keys, and values should be 0 or 1. So 0 means you don't want that field. 1 means you want that field. So if you don't pass it also, by default it will be 0 only. Okay. So whenever if you pass a key with value as 1, it will Mongo will assume that you want only this key in the output. Okay. Yeah, that is the use case of projection. And there is one more thing called limit. So in limit, what we do is, it is similar to what we do in SQL. Like, so in SQL, if we want to limit the number of records, so assume that for a particular query, there are 100 results, but you don't want all the 100. You want to process only the first 10 or last 10, something. So in that case, what you can do is you can limit the records in MongoDB using this limit function. So the way you should write is, so we'll execute this find query. After that, so you should create a limit function, and you should pass a number to this limit. So this number will be the number of documents that you want to be displayed. So if you pass 10, you will get only 10 documents. And if you pass 20, you will get only 20 documents, like that. Okay. And after that, the next method is skip. So in skip, as the name suggests, so if you want to skip any documents in starting or in end, in that case, you can add skip. So the way it works is, so you will enter the find query same way, and if you want, you can add limit also. And after that, adding limit, assume that you have added limit as 10. So in this case, you will get only 10 entries. In those 10 entries also, if you want to skip some number in beginning, in that case, you can again chain that limit query with skip method. And you will create a skip function, and you will pass a number. So this number will be the number of documents that will be skipped. Okay. So all these are like pretty straightforward. So I'm not going to spend much time. And the next one is sort. Okay, in sort, as the name suggests, so if you want to sort the data according to any key, or any, so it might be according to name or according to any integer number. So in that case, you can use this sort function. So it is similar to order by in SQL. Okay, so this sort method will accept a list of documents, so list of keys, which will be having either 1 or -1. So 1, so if you give any key, like if you give key as name, and if you give it as a 1, so it will list all the entries sorted by ascending with name key, this key, whatever you will write here. And if you, instead of 1, if you pass -1, it will be in descending order. So 1 is for ascending order, and -1 is for descending order. Okay. And the next one is aggregate. So in aggregate, it is similar to what we do in SQL aggregation. So aggregation is mainly, so how can I say? So aggregation is mainly with respect to, suppose, assume that you want to do some aggregation, like if you want to do some arithmetic operation, such as if you want to compute average of all the ages of a particular all the persons having in a document. So in that case, so that is called as aggregation. And assume that if you want to count, if you want to sum all the number of age, all the age of all the persons, in that case, that sum is also kind of aggregation. So there are multiple types of aggregation. So whatever I had given, sum and average, those are just the types. But in aggregation, these are basically, you can assume that these are some kind of arithmetic operations. Okay, calculating average, mean, median, mode, sum, all those things will fall under aggregation. Okay. So the prototype of the aggregation is like this. So you should give db.collection name. So this will be your connection name dot aggregate, and here you should mention what is the type of operation you want to perform. So this I will explain while giving an example. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So next one is push. So push is similar to update, but in push what we are doing is, as the name suggests, we are trying to add some entry. So we are not trying to update the existing entry, but assume that if we have a list, so if you have a key where that value is list of objects, list of integers, assume that list of integers. In that case, if you want to add one more value to that list, you can use this push method. So what it does is it just adds an element to the end of an array. So if you have an array as a data type for any key, then if you want to push some element to the end of the array, then you can use push. Okay, so in push also what it does is, so if the specified key, okay, so the syntax is like this. So it will be db collection name dot update. So it will be update only. Inside update, you will be pushing the data with this $push keyword. Okay. So what you will do is, first you will do update, and to update you will fetch the data by using this filter. And once you get the data, so we'll create a dictionary with the $push as a key. So this is the syntax. This is a push keyword syntax. And what you do is you will give a key name. After that, you will give $each. This is also included in this push syntax, okay? And you will add value. So in this case, what happens is, suppose assume that whatever key you had given here, if that key already exists, then it will append the data to that array. But there is one more case also. What happens if that key does not exist? In that case, what it does, it will create a new key in the document with this value, whatever you had given. So basically it does two things. Like if the key, whatever you had given, if that already exists, it will append the data to that array. But if that key does not even exist, so that will create a new key in the document with whatever value you had given here. So all of these methods you will be seeing. We will create an example and I'll show it, so that there is no need to confuse, because there are a lot of methods available in Mongo. So that's why please don't get confused. Okay. Yeah. So the next one is add to set modifier. So here this might seem like it might similar to push, but there is one major difference. So it acts as a push method only. It appends the element to the array if that key is already present. But there is one major thing. So in push, what happens is, so assume that if the key already exists and if it is having some values, and whatever the values you are trying to add, if there are any duplicates, then also it will add to that array. So basically in push, it will not check for duplicate entries. It will directly add whatever values you will give. But here in add to set, what happens is, so it will not add that value. That value is already present inside this key. So assume that there is one key called age, having 1, 2, 3 array. Okay. In push, if you are trying to insert the same 1, 2, 3 again here, it will the end output will be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 like that. But here in add to set, what happens is, if you are trying to insert the same 1, 2, 3 again to the age key, it will not add, because that 1, 2, 3 already exists. That's why. So this is the major difference between push and add to set. Okay. Otherwise, both the methods will look similar, will work similar. Okay. So this is the only major difference. Yeah. So the next one is element match operator. So here, so we use element match operator whenever we want to match multiple keys inside an array. So assume that if we have an array of objects, so and if you want to query inside that array of objects, in that case, you can use element match. So what it does is whatever keys you will pass inside this element match, so it works as an AND condition. So all these conditions will be executed. So what happens if you don't pass that element match is, so by default, Mongo will accept only one key inside an array of objects. So that's why only one condition will be satisfied. But if you want to satisfy more conditions than one, in that case, you should use element match. Otherwise, it's not possible. So I'll give an example for all of this, so don't worry. So the next one is lookup. So this is the major thing. So lookup is the thing. So till now, we have seen the query in single collection. That means single table. But you might assume that how to do join the same way you will do it in SQL. So in SQL, you can do joins, right? So you can combine the two tables with some condition, and you can perform the multiple joins like left join, right join, left outer join, right outer join, inner join, all those things, different type of joins you can do. In the same way, Mongo also provides lookup operator, so which is equivalent to join in traditional SQL, relational SQL. Okay, so in lookup, what happens is the same way when we do we do join, right? The same way you have to create a lookup operator first. How you want to join two tables. So till now we have seen all the queries with respect to only single collection. That means single table. But if you want to query in multiple tables, lookup is pretty much necessary because it acts as a join. Okay. So the syntax of lookup is like this. So we'll create a $lookup keyword, and it accepts for keys. So the keys will be like this only. So these are defined pretty much. And local field will be the field where you want to join with the current table. And foreign field will be, it's similar to foreign key. What is the foreign key name in the other table? From which table you want to query. As in, so how you want to store that result. Whether you want to, if you want to store that result in any variable, you can use this key. Okay. So for all of this, let's try to show some examples now. Okay. 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 First, give me a minute. Let me open Mongo Compass. Guys, give me a second, just a minute. Okay. Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah, so let's start looking one by one. Yeah, first we will see save method. Okay. So let me add some data. Okay. So yesterday we have already seen how to update this. So in today's thing, let's try how to save this document with new ID. Okay. So dot update. Okay. Author ID. Yeah, sorry. Should use save. Now let me try giving ID like this. Okay. I'll give some random ID. Okay. Now let's see what happens. Okay, should have given the other details. Just a minute. Okay. Okay, whatever I can not reflecting. Just a minute. Yes, I might have done. Let me quickly check it. One. Okay, I shouldn't add. Yeah, now it will work. Okay, yeah. So what I did is, so I'll try to so you can see that I try to replace the same thing, okay, with the same author ID test, but last name I guess I have done wrong. Just a minute. I'll go to test author 120. Okay, yeah. So now you can see that the same thing I have updated here with new object ID. Okay, so here you can see that whatever object ID I passed now in here in dot save, that will be reflected here, assuming that whatever I have passed will be unique. So if I try to pass the same thing again, so here you can see that it hasn't modified anything because I have already have the same data with same ID. That's why it cannot replace the whole document again. Okay. So let's try to do projections. Okay. The same thing. Yeah, as I mentioned, in projection, you can only fetch some certain keys. So take this example only. Okay. Now let's try to find all the author ID with 1, 2, 3. Okay. String 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, we have two objects. Okay. We're having author ID 1, 2, 3. Now let's try to do projection like this. So we will give let's give what are the things we need. We need a first name. Let's we'll give 1. Okay. So by default ID will be 1. That's why you can see that. So here you will able to see all the fields, including author ID, age, first name, and last name. So here what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to fetch only first name and last name. by doing projection. So that's why what I'm trying to use, I'm trying to compress the data. So I'm trying to get whatever I want. So only the fields that I want. I'm not trying to get the whole document itself because this is unnecessary. So my use case is like I want only first name and last name. That's why I have given only first name and last name. Now let's try to do here. So as I mentioned, so by default ID will be there, right? So that's why it was coming. Even if I had given first name and only last name, so I was getting ID also because by default ID will be there. The value of ID will be 1. So if I try to manually override that, then I can use like this. So I can give ID and I can give 0. Okay, so if I do that, so in that case I'll get only first name. So if I want last name also, then I can give last name like this. So basically by doing projection I get only the data which I want. I'll not get any unnecessary data. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can. Okay. Yeah. So you got it right, or still do you have any doubt? Yeah, it updates the modification. Yeah, correct. Okay. So it will not throw any error. It will just try to update that modification. So if it is not matching, then only it will create the new entry. Okay. Now let's go to the next one. So we have done the projection, and let's try to do the limit. Okay. Okay. No, okay. Let me add one more entry. Okay. So I have added one more author ID with 1, 2, 3. Okay. There are 3 entries. Now let's try to limit this. So let's try. Yeah. So here you can see that. So we are getting the first data always because we are trying to limit by only 1. Okay. So if I change it to 2, then I'll get first 2 entries. If I try to do it 3, then I'll get all the entries. So if I try to increase the limit also, since I have only 3 entries, so it will give only the 3. Okay. So this is very simple. Let's Now let's see skip. So here I will limit to 2 first, then I will skip 1. Hmm. Yeah. So now this is, so yeah. So here what I'm trying to do is, so I'll not limit because since we have only 3 entries. So let me try to skip one entry. So what it does is, so it will, so we have 3 entries, right? With yeah, 67, 99, 69. Okay. So I'll just skip the first entry. So it will skip the 67 ID and it will return the next two. Okay. And if I do skip up to, then it will remove the first two entries and it will return the last entry. So if I do skip all those things, it will not return anything at all. So the next one is sort. Okay. Okay. So now, I guess all these entries are having same thing. Let's try to add something different. Okay. Okay. I should change the data type of this ID so that I can show you the sorting properly. So right now everything is string. So let me change it to integer. I'll do it here only. So here you can see, here also you can change the data type in MongoDB Compass directly. So this is a bit straightforward. Okay, let's do 70. Okay, so there is dot. So what I didn't get the same. So what is the main use of it? Modification of documents. Yeah. So yeah, as I mentioned, so here you can use save and update both. So both the things will do the same thing. It will do the update. It will update the document. But only the one condition, major condition is, so in save, what happens is, so if you try to pass the ID, so as I passed it here, I'll show you just a minute. Yeah. So in in update, you cannot pass the ID directly like this. So in update, what you can do is fetch. I'll show you this update one. Okay, you should first filter the data in update like this. Author ID to 1 to 3. So once you filter the data, then you can use, as I shown you yesterday, so you should use $set. And you can update the fields, whatever you want. Okay, there's some indentation issue, I just a minute. One, two, three. Okay, there should be one more closing bracket. Yeah. So you can see here, you can see that what I'm trying to do is, first I'm fetching all the objects having author ID 1, 2, 3. Okay. And I'm updating one of them, first entry of that, using update one. I'm not trying to update all. And I'm using $set command to update the values of author ID, first name, test, first name, last name, and age. Okay. So that's what it's doing is, so it will fetch the object, all the objects having author ID 1, 2, 3, and it will update the first one like this. But in save, you can see that there is some slight difference. So what I'm doing is, so I'm directly updating the whole object, including ID also. So what I'm doing is, instead of doing this filter and fetching that object, I'm directly passing the ID, which object I want to update. Okay. So if that ID already exists, then it will get updated. This document will get updated. So in that case, it will act as an update only, same thing. But what if there are two cases? So if the ID matches whatever I had given, so if that ID already exists in the database, then it will update all the remaining other entries. But in case if that ID is not even exist in the database, what it will do is it will create a new entry. So that is the meaning of save. So in save, you can update as well as you can replace the whole document. But in update one, you can just update the data. That's it. You cannot directly create new data. So that's the major difference. Yeah. So did you understand, or still do you have any issue? Sorry, do you have any doubt? Yeah. So in save that you can pass this ID, because so it's not like ID is always needed, but in our example, ID is the primary key, right? So that's why I'm passing the ID directly. So it will go through that ID, and also we had added that ID index yesterday. So we have made sure that ID is always unique. That's why I'm trying to pass through ID. Okay. Yeah. So we need at least one primary key in the gap. So we need at least one primary key. Yeah. So we always try to parse through the primary key, because primary key is always unique, right? So that we'll get only one document. But in case of update, what happens is, so if you pass author ID as 1, 2, 3, in that case, you might get multiple documents. So if I try to replace this update one with update, then all the documents that are having author ID 1, 2, 3 will get updated. But in save, it's not like that. Only one document will get updated. Okay, that's the major difference. But apart from this, both are same only. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for asking that out. So let's go to the next one. So what we were trying to do, we are trying to have the sorting thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sometimes even I also forget these commands because there are a lot of commands. So I always try to Google sometimes because it's difficult to keep track of all these commands. So I remember only those commands I use most frequently. Yeah. So yeah, it's not necessary for you also to remember all the commands. You just have to remember what each command does. That's it. But you don't have to remember each and everything, syntax and all, because I know it's pretty difficult to remember each and everything. Okay. Yeah. So I have these many documents. Okay, let's try to sort by age, and I will give ascending. Yeah. Okay. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm fetching the data by find, having all the authors, having author ID 1, 2, 3, and I'm applying sort by age, and I'm also specifying what order I want. So here I want ascending order, that's why I icon 1. Let's try to give -1 also. Yeah. So once if you give -1, it will sort the documents according to age descending. Okay. Now, yeah, let's try to do some aggregation. Okay. So okay, so these aggregations, there are some commands. Just a minute. I will also check. Okay, so there are a lot of documents, so a lot of tutorials, so you can easily find all these things. So yeah, so I haven't listed all the different aggregations in the PPT because there are a lot of multiple aggregations. That's why I wanted to show you directly in the website. So these are the main basic aggregations that are possible in Mongo. So I'll explain one by one. So first one is sum. So in sum, what we do is suppose if there is any use case where we want to sum. So in this case only, so we have age as integer, right? Suppose assume that there is one use case where you have to sum all the authors having 1, 2, 3, and for in these authors you have to sum their age and you have to display that age. So in that case, what you can do is, so you have to use this sum keyword. And average is also, yeah, as the name suggests, suppose if you want to calculate the average of age, all the authors age, then in that case you can use average aggregation. Okay. And yeah, as similar, so minimum. So assume that there is one use case where they want to find the author which is having minimum age compared to others. So in this case, so we have, there's an author having age 30, right? So if you want to output this author, in that case, we have to use minimum of age. We have to apply minimum aggregation on age key. Okay. The same way max also, yeah, similar to min. And push this I will explain later. So push, add to set and all I have already listed. And yeah, so there is one more thing. So this first is always, suppose if you want to apply some, you have applied some aggregation and you have done some sorting and all. And if you want to fetch only the first document from that aggregation, then you can use this first. And similarly, last also, if you want to fetch the last document, you can use last. Okay. Now let's try to do one by one. Okay. First, let's try to do aggregate by, let's try to find sum of age. Okay. Aggregate. So here you have to use $group. This I'll explain. Okay. Okay. Let's try to group by author ID. Okay. Okay. Author ID and I got made some mistake. Just a minute. Okay, so here, okay, so group by thing, I have to pass underscore ID like this. And I have to fetch from where I'll be query. Okay, so it should be, so in our case, it's $author ID. We need to specify the variable by $. Okay, then let's have one more key where we're calculating sum of age. Okay, where we will do $sum and we have to give where it points to. Okay. $sum. Let's give dollar. Yeah, these syntaxes sometimes are confusing. There's one more. I haven't closed it, I guess. Yeah. So, yeah, so here, yeah, this might seem like pretty confusing. I'll explain. So here what I'm doing is, so I am grouping all the authors. Okay, I'll show the Mongo Compass as data so that we'll get to understand. So here what I'm doing is, I'm grouping the author. So it's a group by query in relational SQL by author ID. Okay, I'm grouping all the authors having same author ID. Once I get that group, I am summing up the ages. Actually, in real time, it will not happen. So but just for showing it, I'm doing it. Like summing up all the ages and displaying like this. So to have some realistic example, let's have some more field inserted thing. So this age doesn't make any sense. Let me add a new field. So what should I give? I'll give number of books. Okay, that makes sense. Instead of age, number of books, and let me keep it as integer, and let me give it 2. That means this author has written 2 books. Okay. Okay, the same way I will update for each and every entry. Okay, so that I will show you how it will be done. Because if I query with age, that doesn't make any sense. Okay. So we have author ID 1, 2, 3, author ID 2, 3, 4, author ID 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I will. Four. Okay. So once I execute this query, if you don't understand anything, you can ask the host. Let me quickly add this data. Give 5 and update. Okay. Now let me execute the same query. On instead of age, I'll execute number of books. Yeah. So this I think you can easily understand. So what I'm trying to do is, so I'm grouping the authors. So if you try to, so just try to split it up. Okay, don't try to read everything together. Okay. First, I am having group clause, $group. That means it's grouping. Okay. First, I'll be doing grouping query. Okay. Group by, I have given ID, $ID. So this you can give anything. Okay. So there is nothing like you should give author ID. I can give author ID also. So whatever I give here, that will, okay. Okay, sorry, I explained wrongly. So you cannot give like this. So you should give the primary key of it. Okay, you should give ID itself. So you cannot change this, but this you can change. This variable you can change. So you can give sum of books. Okay, this you can change. Sorry, I explained it wrong. So what I'm trying to do is, first I am trying to group. Okay, group all the objects, author objects, by giving $author ID. Means what it does is it will try to find all the authors having similar ID and it will group, okay, into one. And what I'm trying to do is sum up for all the different authors. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a sum of this $number of books key of all the authors, and I'm trying to add it in sum of books key. Okay, that's what I'm doing. So that's why the output is, so here you can clearly see that for 1, 2, 3 author, integer 1, 2, 3 author ID, I had added a number of books 2. So it is given 2. Okay. And for 2, 3, 4, I had added 3. That's why it's coming as 3. And but here you can see that for string 1 to 3, there are 2 entries having number of books 4 and number of books 5. So by using sum, what I'm doing is I'm fetching both the objects and summing up on this variable. That's why it's giving 4 plus 5, 9 for this author. And there is also one more object. I guess I might have added that author ID key in some of the documents. I might have not added that. That's why it's coming as null, and sum of books as 0. So now, so you guys have any doubt in this thing? Yeah, I know. So it will be a bit confusing at the beginning, but as you try to execute multiple queries, then you will get to understand it. Because for me also sometimes it's confusing because there are a lot of queries. But yeah, did you guys understand what I try to explain here? So you can relate to this your relational SQL query, and I'll be doing first group by query, group by author ID, then I'm using sum operator. So this dollar I'm using because I'm trying to fetch author ID key. So I'm using author ID, that's why I'm giving dollar. So wherever you are using the variable, you should give dollar. So here also I have given dollar number of books so that it can, so Mongo can know that it have to fetch the data from number of books key. Okay, so why we are giving dollar group, all those things inside an array bracket? Yeah, so that's a good question. So the reason I'm giving dollar group here, so first one, the reason I'm giving dollar group is I'm doing a group by query. So I'll show you. Yeah. So the reason, so you may use array field or you may not use array field. So that is not needed. So the reason in the example they have mentioned array field is, so if you want to change this with some other query along, so assume that if you are using doing group by, and after that if you are trying to do something order by or anything on top of this, then you can execute the same thing after this thing. Okay, that's the, so here you can do that. Okay, again, you can change the request, but that is not needed here. So you can do directly like this also. So where did I do? Yeah, like this also I can do. So reason I used group because, so here if you see, there are, you can see that there are multiple entries having author ID 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all those things. So here you can see there are multiple entries, but you cannot sum it up, right, on the individual level because you already have that number of books entry for each author. So if you try to do without that, then it doesn't make any sense because you already have that number of books for each author, for each document. So that's why, so here what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to group the authors who all are having same author ID. Because if the two authors are having same author ID means, so both the documents are belong to same author. That's what it means, right? Because author ID is, we assume that author ID is unique. Each author will be having unique author ID. So if you try to add like this, that means the same author has written 9 books, but we have split it up and we have added as a separate entry like that. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to merge this using author ID key. And I'm trying to fetch for a single author ID how many number of books are present by doing the sum of number of books. Did you understand, or still are there any confusion? This group is basically to do the group by query. So that's how you can relate to relational SQL. So first I'm doing group by author, and once I fetch the individual author, so there are only these many different authors that are present, because all the other entries are duplicate, because I have given the same author ID. Okay, so that's why I should give underscore ID here, because I cannot give, because ID is always unique, right? So that's why I should give it as underscore ID. So if I try to change this, it will not work, because whatever the output we get in this also, the ID will be unique. Here also you can see there is no duplicate entry. All the IDs are unique, but this sum of books can be same, because that we cannot control. That we cannot make sure that all of them are unique, because that will not be satisfying unique conditions also. But the only thing what we are trying to make sure is, so there are no duplicate entries in this thing, and also we are trying to sum the entries, sum the number of books. So this variable, as I mentioned, I can change anytime. So I can directly give sum also. So whatever you give here, the same thing will reflect here. Okay. We should always, you should use $ID, because that's what I tried to change it first at the beginning. If I give to use author ID, it will not work. Yeah, so it's saying that, yeah, I can use only ID, because ID is the primary key. So you can see that here, yeah, underscore ID is the primary key of each document. But now all the other fields can be duplicate or can be, so we haven't ensured uniqueness in these keys. So only ID is primary key, right? So, and it is unique. Also, we have added indexes only for ID. That's why we have to give only ID. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, this is a bit confusing. So yeah, please try to practice this. So these are all like advanced type of queries. So it will take some time to master this, because for me also it took some time to master all these things. But yeah, so you have to practice. That's the only thing. Otherwise, yeah, it might seem like it's slightly confusing. Okay. Now let's try to do average. So here, instead of sum, I will do average, and I'll do average of books. Yeah. So once you understood this sum thing, so you will automatically understand this average also, what I'm trying to do here. So here I'm trying to calculate the average number of books that he might have written on one go. So assume that this is the number of books he has written in year 2020, and this is the number of books the same as author has written in 2021. So I haven't added the year here, but assume that there is one more key called year, and for this entry, for this document, year is 2020, and for this document, year is 2021. And so what we are trying to say here is, so the same author author one ID 123, he has written 4 books in 2020, and he has published 5 books in 2021. So the use case, what I'm trying to do it here is, what is the average number of books he is publishing every year? This is what I'm trying to do it here. So here you can see that average number of books he is publishing on each and every year is 4.5. Okay. I think once you understood this something, I think the average also pretty straightforward. So did you get any doubt here, or shall I continue to the next one? Okay, I assume everyone might have got it. So let's go to the next one. So here we are calculating min and max. Okay, so yeah, once you understood this thing, so it's just a replacement of all these things. So only the syntax you need to remember. So here I'm trying to find what is the minimum number of books each author has published in all the years. So this is also pretty straightforward, and I'll do max also. Okay, this is also straightforward. Okay, now let's go to the aggregation. So this is called as aggregation. Okay, now let's try to do push. So as I mentioned now before, so the push will do 2 things. So if there is already an element is there, so with the same key, it will try to append in the same key. Otherwise, it will create a new key. So therefore, to validate this, I had created one data. I will show you. So yesterday, someone had I asked the question, right? How to query with array of objects. So that right now we'll be doing it now. Okay. So let's check this entry. Okay. So here we have array of objects. So we have all the types ILS pin. So this ID is a unique. So I have given as integer 1. Okay. Name, string, age, integer, email, string. So interest. So this is, okay, I will show you in the shell only, so that you will get to understand properly. And okay. Okay. Yeah. So here you can see that ID is integer, name is string, age is integer, email. So these are pretty straightforward. So here I have added interest, so which is dictionary, JSON. Okay. So this is a new data type I have added. And also there is one more data type, skills, which is array of strings. Okay. And also I will add one more thing. So I have added one more thing, prints. This is also array of strings. Okay. So in this thing, I'll try to, in this document, I'll try to push some data. Okay. Now, what is the syntax? So I have done, so I should add update here. Sorry, not find, because I'm trying to update the data. Okay. I have done the filter, so this is done. And I'll be, so this I'll directly copy paste. I don't want to write it. Okay. So the syntax is like this. So you should give $push Okay, then you open a flower bracket. You will give where you want to push the data. So we have these many keys: ID, MP, so ID, name, age, email, interest, friends, skills. So now I will try to push a new skill, okay, to skills. And so right now we have MongoDB, MySQL. I will add PostgreSQL. Okay, PostgreSQL. So, okay, this is done. I will close this bracket, close this bracket. Yeah, okay. So this is the syntax of push. So what I'm doing is, first I'm fetching this object by giving name equal to MP. So there is only one data with the name equal to MP. And I'm pushing some data to array of strings. So this is the same update query I'm writing, but the reason I'm using push is because the field which I'm updating is not an integer or a character field. So if it is a normal straightforward field, integer or character, you can directly, instead of push, you can directly write set. The same way I had written above, set some skills equal to Mongo, like that. But here we cannot use set because the data type of this skill is not string or integer. It's an array of strings, array of characters. That's why we should always use like this. So here you can see the result is one row is matched and one row is modified. Now let me again try to fetch and see. Yeah. Here you can see that for skills, I have updated. Okay, I missed this dollar each. Okay, just a minute. That's why it has. So the issue, what happened is, so I already have an array of integer, right? Sorry. Yeah, so I'll just use just a minute. I'll dot pretty so that you'll get to know properly. Yeah. So here, what I did is, so the mistake what I did is, so I wanted to add PostgreSQL here, but since I added like this, so it has added as an array again inside this array. So array inside an array, the same thing happened. Let me try to do this. Okay. Okay, now let's check. Yeah. So now it has added properly because I have removed that bracket. Because of that bracket, it has added like this. So let me remove that. Just a minute. Where is that? Yeah, so there is an array. Okay, I think it's not possible to okay, let it be like that. Okay. Okay, so this is the way you can add a single entry. Okay, PostgreSQL. But assume that I want to add multiple entries together. So in that case, you already saw that if I try to add like this, SQLite, then what happens is it will try to add as array again inside this, but I don't want that. I want to add it as a single string, as a single element. So what I want Mongo to do is it should parse each element, whatever I have given inside the array, and it should add one by one to inside this array, skills array. Okay, but I don't want the PostgreSQL and SQLite to be added like this. So this was the mistake I had done first. So to avoid this, what you should do is, so you should add $each like this. So once you give skills, then you have to add a bracket, then you have to mention $each. Okay. I'll give some different name. Okay. $each. And yeah. So in this case, what happens is if you pass $each, it will first parse this data, parse this array of characters. It will parse one by one. It will only parse testDB at beginning. So it will append it after PostgreSQL. testDB will append it, and after that SQLite will be appended. But if you don't give $each, what happens is it will be appended like this, array inside an array, which we don't want, because that will again make things complex. So we don't want to have a nested thing again inside a nested array. So that's why. So now we can see that. So yeah, here you can see that testDB and SQLite added one by one, because I have mentioned $each here. But if I don't mention $each, what happens is, so it will again create an array inside this skills array like this, and which we do not want, because that will only make things complex. So to avoid this, you should use $each. Okay. So this is the advantage of push method. So are there any doubts in this? So you understood, right, why I'm trying to use $each? Because if I want to add multiple objects at the same time, then I cannot add it like this directly. I cannot give skills equal to array of this thing, because it will add like this, which I don't want. To avoid this, I'm using $each to add one by one. Okay, understood, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, fine. So now we have seen the one use case of push, where what I was trying to do is here. So here, that skills key already exists. That's why it has appended the data inside this skills array. Now let's see the reverse of this. Now let's try to add what? Let's assume that this. Let's try to add new key. I'll add updated skill. Yeah, updated skill. Add MySQL SQLite. Now let's see what happens. Yeah, you got the thing, right? So what happens if you pass any key which is not already present? So in this case, so earlier we were passing the same key, skills, which already exists. But here what we are trying to do is we are trying to pass a new key which is not exist by default. That's why it has created a new key. Inside the document, it has appended the data one by one, not together. So if you do, again, if you try to remove this each, and if you try to insert like this, then again it will create an array of array. So again it will create appended skills, and inside that again it will create one more array, and it will add like this, which we do not want. Okay. Okay, are there any doubts in this? Or else I'll move to the next one. So you got to know the both use cases of right push. So where case one is that key already present. Case two is when we're trying to add a new key. So in both the cases, the behavior of the push changes. Okay. Are there any doubts? Or is it too difficult to understand? Okay. I have used MongoDB with Node.js. There we define a schema for MongoDB. Won't it get changed by this? Yeah. So yeah, that is a good question. So here, I'm not trying to enforce any condition like each table should have some predefined schema. So I'm not trying to enforce anything. So that's why whenever I try to add something, so it is that key is getting added as a new key. But yeah, as you mentioned, if I try to if I had that enforced condition by before, then definitely will throw that error. Yeah, because in that case, what happens is, so you are trying to use MongoDB in similar way you are trying to use a relational SQL by trying to enforce some conditions to. So in that case, what happens is, so MongoDB will try to enforce all the conditions, like it will try to create a schema the same way we create a schema in relational DB. So in that case, it will throw an error. So you can't insert a new key directly. So that you have to be aware of that, because that depends upon the use case. So sometimes if you are not confident that you cannot directly work with MongoDB directly, then you can try to insert. You can try to have some predefined schema, so that you don't end up with adding some corrupted data. But if you are pretty sure that, if you are pretty confident that whatever query you are writing that is proper, then you don't have to define any schema before, because that is the advantage that MongoDB gives, right, over the relational SQL. In relational SQL, everything is predefined. You can't do anything customized. But in Mongo, that is the advantage. So it doesn't enforce any condition. So whatever you can do, you can do. But the ultimate goal is you shouldn't corrupt the data. That's the only thing. That should be taken care by the developer itself. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. It's nice to, now that you have already used MongoDB. Yeah. So definitely you will get to know more things actually. So did you use any Node.js driver, or did you directly try to interact with the Mongo shell? Like if you use Node.js driver, Mongoose, correct. So that is a Node.js driver, right? So there, I guess the query might be some different in the way that what we are trying to write here, I guess, because I haven't used Node.js. That's why I'm asking you. Okay, yes, correct. Yeah, thanks. So yeah, there I see there might be some ORMs defined by Mongoose. You might be using that Mongoose ORM. Yeah, correct. Yeah. So it's ultimately it's the same. So if you can use ORM, you can use ORM also. Or if you don't want to use ORM, if you want to directly interact with Mongo shell, that is also fine. It's up to the developer. So however you feel comfortable, you can use anything. Yeah. So Mongoose is also, I guess, it's pretty good. Yeah, that's what I heard, but I haven't used it personally. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go to the next one, whatever. Yeah, add to set modifier. Okay. So this, as I mentioned, this add to set modifier also works similar to push. Add to set. So now let's see. I'll try to add one data. I'll try to add MongoDB. Okay. I should give $, just a minute. Okay. Sorry, I got exited through by the command window. Again. Okay. Okay, so here what I was trying to use is add to set. So here what I'm trying to do is, so let me add one new entry to operator skills. We'll do MongoDB. Okay. So you can see that MongoDB is added. Okay. So you might feel like so both add to set and push will work same, because push will also add the same thing and add to set is also adding the same thing. So you might wonder what is the difference. So as I explained before, so now you will get to know the difference. So now I have my SQL. I'll add SQLite again. Yeah. Now you can see that. Yeah. So you can see that the contents of this updated skills array are not getting updated. So you know what's the reason, because as I mentioned, so it's adds and value in an array unless that value is already present. So here you can clearly see that these values are already present. That's why it's not going to add. But if I use push, yeah, you can see that it will also add duplicate values. So that is the major difference between push and add to set. Push can add duplicate values, but add to set will not add the duplicate values. It will only contain the unique values inside an array. Okay, that is the major difference. Okay, now let's see element match operator. Okay, for that, okay, yeah, now I have already created one more array to give example to this, so don't worry. Okay, so this is a document I had created earlier where you have all the employee details, contact, date of birth, name, and address. And you see address is a new field which we haven't explored, which is array of objects. So till now we have explored objects and array separately, but we haven't explored array of objects. So this is how array of objects looks like. So yesterday someone had asked question, right? How to query with array of objects. Now I will show you how to query with array of objects using this element match operator. So here I will directly copy this. Okay. Collection. So my key is name. Okay. Now what I'm trying to do is, okay, yeah, I'll be having this keyword. So this is keyword for element match $ELEM match. Okay. Then what I will try to do is, I'll try to, so let's have a use case. So assume that you have a use case where you want to fetch all the employees having address have so all the, let's try to fetch all the employees residing in pin code 123456. Okay, so that is your query. So you can see that pin code is nested, so it is not inside in so it's not in your root level. So if it is was root level like this, after name Tom Benjamin, if there is any key like pin code, you can directly query like pin code equal to 123456 like that. But here the issue is, so that pin code is nested, so it's inside address. So in that case, you cannot query directly. So in that case, what you should do is you should get the root key and give dot and give pin code 123456. Okay. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is, so I'm trying to fetch the root key address, which is address. Okay, just a minute. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to fetch the root key address, and I'm trying to access dot pin code using that address, and I'm giving 123456. Okay, sorry. I should give address. Okay, I guess I might have done some mistake. Just a minute. Okay, I haven't given find here. Okay, I haven't given key here. Just a minute. Okay. Okay, I have got the option. Just a minute. Okay, this I have got it. Okay, I'm getting the query properly, but unable to display all the elements. Just a minute. Quickly check. Give me a minute. Let me try to do query with contract. Something I'm missing it out. Just a minute. Just a minute. Okay, this is fine. So the query you are making, that is perfectly fine. So you should always fetch the data with address. So because pretty, so here you have the use case, right? So fetch all the employees that are residing in pin 12345. So the way you should always make a query is like this. So you should always fetch the data with address dot pin code, because your root level key is address, and from there you are accessing pin code attribute. So that's why it should be address dot pin code equal to 123456. So if you do that, then also you'll get the same object. And if you change it to 456789, then also you'll get the same object. You can query with all the pin code. Okay, and you can also specifically query with index. So you can also query with like this. That means it will go to address array and it will check the index 0. That means this is the object in index 0, and it will fetch 0 dot pin code is equal to 123456. So is this the variable is 123456 or not? So if okay. Yes, I might have done some issue here. Just a minute. So we should pass in operator or something to this. Okay. Modify it accordingly. Trace element match encode five six. Okay. Yeah. So I guess I had made some mistake earlier. Not sure what was that mistake, but yeah, this is the way you should write element match query. I guess not sure. I'm not able to recall what was the mistake I had done earlier. I guess there might be some spelling mistake or something. Okay, so you should be careful about all these things. So otherwise you'll not get the expected data. So what I'm trying to do in element match here is so we have this entry, right? So here what I'm trying to do is first I'm trying to access what is the root level key, which is address. Okay, I'm going inside this address and I'm adding element match function and I'm giving pin code here. Okay, mostly that time I had given address dot pin code here. Yeah, that is not valid. So you should give pin code. So once you go inside this address root key. So you can easily access all these keys, whatever the nested keys. So once you go inside that array of objects, you can directly query normally. However, you query in find. So here you can also add one more condition, like, okay, so I'm filtering with pin code, and also I can filter with one more condition where city is, okay, let me use state. State is, okay, California. Okay, I have given. Yes, there is one. Okay, no. Okay, sorry. I did it here. So it should be done here in the same level. So it should be outside element match. It should be inside the element match key only. Okay. Yeah. So assume that if you give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from here, and if you do city as Illinois like this, let's see what happens. Yeah, so we will not get the data because here you are querying with a respective particular index of an address array. So that's why you should query together like this. But you cannot query with one attribute of that one index and another attribute of that another index. You cannot do like that. So you should always give like this. So this will fetch you the data. So this is how you should query inside an array of objects in Mongo shell. Okay. So this is an array of objects, and that's why I'm specifically querying with this key address. Okay. Yeah, so I wanted to cover one more thing, but I guess we already finished the time slot. Okay, anyway, I'll share that PPT so that I have mentioned that one more concept. That's a theory concept. So I'll mention it in that PPT itself. So you can go through that and you can let me know if you face any difficulties on this. So this is the thing. So yeah, so this element match, it might seem confusing because for me also sometimes I get confused in it, but you have to practice. So I'll recommend some few websites so to practice this. So first one is you should you can access this tutorial points website. Point. So this is pretty good. And another is, so you can directly go to MongoDB official website. So there also, so here also you'll get to understand all the queries and how to perform this. So this is also pretty good. So I do refer both of these. So whenever I get stuck in something, so you can also do this. So yeah, I don't know how much everyone understood, but yeah, these things are pretty complex. So if you're starting to learn MongoDB from beginning, yeah, you might face some issues at the beginning, but once you start executing all these queries on daily basis, yeah, you will get hold of how to write all things one by one. And also there are a lot of methods that are provided by MongoDB, so don't get confused. And so you don't have to remember the syntax also. So because I also don't remember the syntax and all, but you have to remember what each method does. So if I say what element match does, so that I'm aware. So what element match does.
That's why, so that's the reason. So you should remember what each method does. So that will be enough for you to get started with. And you should know what is the difference. Suppose if I say what is the difference between update and save, and what is the difference between push and ID to date, add data set, all those things, add to set, sorry, push and add to set, and all those things you should be aware of. So yeah, so let's have Q&A for 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. So if you have any doubts, you can ask.